Students, today we are going to discuss the next topic, which is boundary effects. Basically, whenever a wave travels, suppose this is a wave, suppose I have taken a string in my hand and I give it an upward jerk. Okay, so now this wave will travel, the disturbance will travel along, and if one end of this rope or the string is fixed, then this wave will travel along the path and it will strike the fixed end and it will reflect back. Okay, either it will reflect or it will transmit. Now, what is the difference between reflection and transmission? If it reflects, it will come back and follow the same path, maybe in opposite direction. Transmit means that some of the waves may be like transmitted outside this path. Okay, if this is a rigid support, then some of the energy, what is this wave disturbance? It is a traveling of energy, propagation of energy. So some of the energy will reflect back and some will get transmitted, but here we are restricting ourselves to reflection of waves. Okay, so now whenever we talk about reflection of waves, we take two types of boundaries. Rigid boundary. Now rigid boundary is, we can also say, fixed end, and open boundary we can say free end. Okay, so we will discuss two types of reflections of waves here, one at rigid boundary and other at open boundary. Okay, now the first case is reflection of a wave from a rigid boundary or fixed end. Now, let us take a string and fix it at one end. And if I give it an upward jerk, now what will happen? If this is the direction of propagation of the wave, now with time, this wave will travel and it will reach, eventually it will reach the fixed end. Okay. Now, what is happening here? The wave here is traveling in a rarer medium and it is reaching the denser medium. Now, what is a denser medium? You have studied in case of light also. Denser medium is a more dense medium where the speed of light, it becomes the light travels with a slower pace, at a slower pace, or its speed becomes less. Similarly, here in this case also, if a wave is traveling from rarer to denser medium, so whatever is the speed here, suppose v is the speed here in this case in the rarer medium. Now, if it comes to the denser medium, it will have now lesser speed as compared to speed in rarer medium. And one more thing, once you can see that the wave is traveling, I gave it an upward jerk and the wave is traveling in the same direction in form of an upward crest only. Okay, now with time what will happen? Now it will hit the wall. This wall, if this fixed rigid boundary is a wall, then it will hit the wall. Now this is a denser medium, so now it will not allow. Here we are considering there is zero transmission. Okay, so it will not allow the wave to get transmitted, and as it is a denser medium, so now the wave will start traveling along the same path but in opposite direction and also with a phase change. Okay, you can see in the figure here, earlier this was the direction of propagation of wave. Now the direction has also changed and its phase has also changed, as you can see in the figure. Okay, so we can say here that if a wave if a wave pulse is traveling along a string in a rarer medium and is attached to a rigid boundary or a rigid support such as a wall which is considered to be a denser medium. Now as soon as the pulse will reach this rigid support or wall, it will exert an upward force on the wall. Yes, an upward force will be exerted on the wall, and in return to this, if you remember Newton's third law, there will be an equal and opposite downward force on the string. Fine. Due to which the reflected pulse, this is now the reflected pulse. This pulse is coming back after striking the denser support. Okay, so now the reflected pulse, it will move in the downward direction and also it will travel in a reverse direction. Hence we can say that a crest, this is a crest. Yes, now the crest is reflected as a trough in case of a reflection of wave from a rigid boundary. Okay, you can also say that there is a phase change or phase reversal or phase difference of pi radians, which means that there is 180 degrees change. Okay, what is pi? It is 180 degree. As it was traveling as a crest earlier, after reflection, now it is traveling as a trough. So there is a phase difference of pi radians, which means that a traveling wave is reflected from a rigid boundary. It is reflected back with a phase reversal or phase difference of pi radians.